Okay, Jamie Gleason here, back again, and for part 2 of things I've been thinking about in order to increase early app generation. So, as a former director of admissions, there were a number of truisms that I guess every day or every year, I would bet my job on all the time. And I'm sure you can relate to this, and here's one of them. The saying goes, or maybe the saying goes in my head, all leads are not created equal. We all know this, right? In fact, we know that there are often huge discrepancies in how different sources convert from inquiry to applicant and ultimately into enrolled students. Search, college fairs, web inquiries, athletic recruit lists, and on it goes. Walk-ins, they're all different. But one of the big challenges that we're facing in this dynamic situation of the pandemic is how do we decipher these leads and how they're changing now in real time? Which ones should we pay attention to? Which ones should we stop paying attention to? And maybe the other question that's dominated a lot of our time is how are we going to create the pool of inquiries that we're used to in an environment where there's limited amount of leads available, so search leads and things like that. So let's take on both of these topics in this short video, and let's start with the second one first. So let me repeat the question so you know what it is. How in the world are we going to create a pool of inquiries that is, I would say, similarly shaped as we are used to? So you all know the majority of list providers, ACT, NRCCUA, College Board, they're all like delayed, been on hold for the last 4 to 5 months. This has been unfortunate because I think, April and May statistically are the better months of students that usually come in because they're, rising seniors, they're at the last part of their junior year, blah, 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 and they convert better. So this year is going to look very different, and it's going to look different for a while. If you're thinking to yourself, hey, I've got to get it back to normal, that's going to take some time. And what we want to do is make sure that we can fill the funnel with those leads in order to create the pool of inquiries that we need. And I just want to say there's 2 options that you have, right? The option that is the first one is you can wait. And you can wait, and it's going to be probably at least another 4 months with the backlogs that are happening. And the other option is you can find other sources. So if you're not okay with the big delay, which I'm guessing that you're not, because I would not be either, then here's what I'm going to suggest. Let's start looking outside the normal sourcing area. So hopefully you've already been doing this. And let's just be honest, this could lead to a slightly higher cost per lead. It also is most likely going to lead to less leads and maybe a little bit more duplication. But those, I think, are all things that are easy to deal with. And probably necessary to deal with in the era that we're in. So what we need to do is think about those non-traditional sourcing mechanisms as ways to build the base. So the second question becomes, as these sources and the leads are changing, which leads should I pay the most attention to? So this is an age-old question, right? And I think this is really a question that is probably best answered by asking yourself a few more questions. Ultimately, what we have to do is, our goal as enrollment managers is to create demand for our institution. That demand shows up in the form of applications, at the time when you need them. So usually, for most institutions, it's between August and November are the largest application intake months. Those happen to be the months that we're in right now. They also happen to be the months that are going to face the biggest losses because of what's been happening with the pandemic. So here are the other questions that I think you should ask. First of all, are you familiar with the origin source? So obviously there's all sorts of different leads that are out there. There's different ways they come in. And just like previously, paying attention to the lead source is going to maybe have implications on how you respond to it. If you know it's been traditionally or historically kind of an underperforming source, then you can create a different comm flow than maybe one that is more warm, if you will. What are the leads doing? This is the second question. What are they actually doing? Are they clicking on an email? Are they filling out a form? Are they visiting your website? Can you see what their traffic is looking like? Have they looked through the application requirements, and are they paying attention to those? These are actions that are significant, and they also help you to figure out, hey, what's the next step? Where are they in the process? Are they underclassmen? Are they seniors? And then third question I'd ask is, how do they rate on a predictive model if you're using one? And do you have a scoring tool that you're using in order to gauge your entire CRM population, in order to say, hey, this is a student I need to pay a lot of attention to because they're very high in my rankings? And then the last question, and it is the one that I consider to be most critical, so I'm going to say it very slow. Are they showing potential for moving forward, or are they actually moving forward? So basically a question of potential energy or kinetic energy. Is it movement or is it potential movement? I'm always going to say, and I say this to all the partners at Capture, we have to pay attention to the ones that are active first. Predictive models are great, and predictive models are a lot of times very right, but they don't get it right all the time. Not a single one of them does, not even ours. But ours is less wrong. That's the way we like to say it. When we have someone who's on your website, they're engaging with your website, and you can see what they're doing and you know where they are, that gives you real insight as to what they want and where they're going. So as we round out this video, what I would say is make sure that you're giving attention to who is moving forward. Not just their potential, but their real time. And that goes regardless of the source that they come from. If they're active on your website, then they are actively interested and demonstrate an interest in you. Capture's Engage product is a lot of things, and it is super critical when it comes to grabbing these leads and moving them to the next step of your inquiry pipeline. It's a real-time response mechanism. It does market automation. It does tracking, and it provides, most importantly, it provides you with the insight on what these students are doing and the predictive analytics that goes along with that. So that's the end of this short video. I'm really excited about getting into the next one, and that's about generating leads off your website, so anonymous user leads. So join me again and take a look at the next one in order to tease out that topic. Until next time, I'm Jamie Gleason from Capture Higher Ed.